This document started out with trying to actually target legislators who were Catholic and who were presenting themselves for Holy Communion.
Personally, my understanding is that the intention of the document was not that. The intention of the document since the beginning was to educate Catholics about the real presence of Jesus in the Eucharist.
It was never the intention to target any individuals or group of individuals.
The U.S. bishops this week voted overwhelmingly in support of a document on Eucharistic coherence, which did not single out neither politicians nor abortion, despite media hype and speculation. The vote came during the U.S. bishops' Fall General Assembly in Baltimore this week, their first in-person meeting since the start of the coronavirus pandemic. The vote on the document on the Eucharist was 222 in favor, 8 against, with 3 bishops abstaining. The document is called The Mystery of the Eucharist in the Life of the Church, and it's focused on the centrality of the Eucharist in the Catholic faith. While no politician was named during the debate and discussion on the document, there was an undertone about the responsibility of U.S. bishops when it comes to pro-abortion politicians and Holy Communion.
The scandal factor is quite significant, and to really address that more than just mentioning it, I believe is very beneficial to the faithful.
We've said this before, but one of the reasons we need to say it again is because I'm not sure that we've taken it seriously as bishops, our responsibility for the care of the souls of these politicians.
You just heard Archbishop Joseph Naumann of Kansas City. This week also marks the official end of Archbishop Naumann's role as chair of the U.S. Bishop's Pro-Life Office. He has served in that leadership role for 3 years, but this assembly marks the start of the term for incoming pro-life chair, Baltimore Archbishop William Lori. Joining us now from Baltimore is the outgoing chair for the USCCB's Committee on Pro-Life Activities, Archbishop Joseph Naumann of Kansas City. Welcome back to the show, Your Excellency, for what is our last interview with you in this pro-life role. I first want to ask you, when it comes to this topic of Eucharistic coherence, you spoke about the need for conversation and dialogue to ultimately lead to conversion for some politicians. Can you speak more to that and what you're trying to highlight there?
Yes, I think the document, it's a much broader document than just that. It's laying the foundation for this whole Eucharistic revival initiative. But in the document, we repeat some of the things that we've said in the past about the importance that we as bishops, as shepherds, have to try and engage those that are in public life, Catholics living in public life, and especially when they're living in ways that are not coherent, not consistent with some of our basic and most fundamental Catholic teachings. So as pastors, we have to be willing to enter into those difficult dialogues sometimes with our politicians for their good and also to protect our people from being misled.
Absolutely. Your Excellency, you chaired this pro-life committee during a Donald Trump presidency and during the election, inauguration, and first year of President Joe Biden's term. Looking back at your 3 years as pro-life chair, what do you see as your greatest achievement, and where were the areas of greatest challenges?
Well, we talked today to the bishop about walking with moms in need, a special initiative that's really implemented at the parish and diocesan level, but it's a national initiative to try to expand the resources within our communities for those with difficult pregnancies, and that the church becomes a place where people know that they can come, and we don't always have to provide all the services ourselves, but we can connect them and we can accompany them, as the Holy Father likes to say. And so to me, that's very exciting. And unfortunately, the pandemic interfered with some of that implementation. But as I was telling the bishops today, it's always timely. And so many of the dioceses, I think, who haven't already begun will begin that now.
2 weeks from now is a major abortion case at the Supreme Court. This is a potentially pivotal time for the pro-life movement because Roe v. Wade could be overturned. Your Excellency, can you speak from a spiritual lens? Where do you see God at work in the pro-life movement right now? And what do you see as our responsibility as Catholics who are living during these historic times?
Yeah, well, I think the Holy Spirit has definitely been at work. I think none of us could have foreseen the Trump presidency and some of the justices that came to the Supreme Court because of that presidency. And as I say now, it's a time of promise, but also a time of peril for the pro-life movement. For many of us that have been in this movement for a long time, our hope has often been that the court that created the problem would help to solve the problem. And so there's much hope with the Dobbs case that it'll allow states, again, to protect it in a greater way, unborn children, and protect mothers from the tragedy of every abortion. So I think it's also a time of peril because the culture of death is even more motivated as they feel threatened by the possibility of this decision. So I think it's a time for all of us in the pro-life movement to increase our efforts at this moment.
Absolutely. We need to be fasting and praying ahead of that case. You have been a vocal advocate for life for years prior to being pro-life chair. As a young priest, I understand that you oversaw the pro-life office at the Archdiocese of St. Louis, and you began the Project Rachel ministry in that archdiocese. The list goes on. How will you continue to advance a culture of life as an archbishop now that you're transitioning out of your role as pro-life chair?
Well, I think the life of the church is lived at the local level, so I look forward to being even able to be more focused on my local church. It's been a great privilege to serve the bishops in this role as chair of the committee, and I've enjoyed it. But I think the real work that really changes the world happens in our parishes and in our diocese. So I look forward to going back to be more focused on that, and especially how can we produce more resources for moms. But also in Kansas, we have a very important moment coming up. In August, we'll be voting on a state constitutional amendment because our state Supreme Court issued a decision 2 years ago that claimed to find a right to abortion in the Kansas Constitution. So we have to write that. So this is going to be a very important time in Kansas, and look forward to being able to throw myself fully into that effort.
Absolutely, yeah, that Kansas amendment is critical. I think it's the first pro-life vote following the Dobbs decision next year, so we'll continue to monitor that. Your Excellency, as Archbishop William Lori of Baltimore now takes on the role of the U.S. Bishop's pro-life chair, do you have any guidance or wisdom you'd want to offer him for these next 3 years?
Well, first of all, the IQ of the chairman has gone up significantly with Archbishop Lori succeeding me, and he has great wisdom and great passion. So I look forward to supporting him. But I think all of us in that position, we have to work our pastoral plan, which is based on prayer, on education and formation, on the pastoral, on providing alternatives and ministering to those that have had abortions and regret it, and then finally advocacy to try and impact public policy. So I think he'll continue on all four of those pillars of the pro-life work.
Absolutely, and we have about a minute left, Your Excellency, but I just wanted to ask, what do you see as the top pro-life priority today, right now?
I think the top pro-life priority is to pray and to fast for the Dobbs decision, for the court to have the courage to do what we hope it will do, and then to be prepared in our states. If our states do protect life more, then we have to be willing and able to help even more women that may come to our pregnancy clinics. And if it doesn't, then the only way we can protect children and protect women, which we value both of them, is through love and through the compassion of the church and our allies.
Absolutely. Great reminder. And just know of our gratitude for your work these past 3 years and this important pro-life role, and know of our prayers for you moving forward. Archbishop Joseph Naumann, outgoing chair for the U.S. Bishops Committee on Pro-Life Activities. God bless you.
Thanks, Catherine. Thanks for the great work you do. God bless.
God bless.